everyone. We are going to try something a little bit different today in the format of this video. Before I get too far into that though, I need to pause and remind you that today's video is sponsored by Nordstrom, and today we are going to focus on Nordstrom Beauty, and specifically a new product that was just released by Charlotte Tilbury that I'm going to demonstrate. It's in part of her skincare line, but now we're going to go back to why this is a different format. So I thought I would apply the product. It's her new Cryo-Mask, and while it's doing its thing, I had asked over on Instagram for you to send me some of your burning questions, and I thought it'd be fun not just to do a get ready with me or demonstrate something, but to also address some commonly asked and burning questions that you all have for me. So let's jump to the product. So here it is out of the box. This is the new Cryo Recovery Face Mask. I've just taken it out of the freezer, actually allowed it to thaw for about 10 minutes, and I'll get to why. I wanna read you the product information first because this is pretty unique and I wanna make sure I get it right. So this mask is a 10-minute ice power shrink and lift facial. It is supposed to give you a more healthy look to the skin. Your contour should appear more sculpted and lifted. Your eyes will appear brighter. That I could really use. Skin appears firmer and complexion looks lit from within. And they go on and list some of the statistics that go with it. It's also supposed to help sagging along the jawline. I have jowls. So the instructions say to place in the freezer while it is still in this protective plastic pouch for up to 30 minutes, about 30 minutes before you use it. If the product is left in there longer than 30 minutes, you should let it sit out for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you have sensitive skin. Here's where I'm gonna read along as I put it on, and then we'll get to some questions. So remove the mask from the pouch and place the protective gel side. I assume it goes this way. Onto clean skin. So I have no skincare on. All I've done is wash my face. Oh, this is gonna be a look. So put it on. Secure the top Velcro straps around the back of your head. This is hilarious. Okay. Ooh, this feels so nice. It feels super nice. And then pull the bottom Velcro straps upwards and secure on top of your head to ensure the mask feels comfortable. Pulling up those sagging jaw lines. Okay, this is getting pretty cold. It says, relax for up to 10 minutes, massaging the metal beads into pressure points of these, if desired. So we're gonna do that. I'm actually gonna set the timer on my watch. So in no order, and I haven't prepared anything here, what time do you get up in the morning to start your day? What is your morning routine? Well, I don't set an alarm. That is one of the benefits for being self-employed, but I generally wake up on my own anytime from about 6:45 to 7:15, depending on who gets up first, me or Rowdy. And then I do the usual things right when you first wake up. Then I brew myself a cup of coffee, bring it back to bed, and then I sit and go through any comments, direct messages, emails that came in overnight, do a little bit of reading, scroll through Instagram as you do, and then I generally get up for the day by anywhere between 8 and 8:30. It's a very gentle ease into the day. And then from there, it depends on what I'm doing. If it's a filming day, I will immediately get dressed, put on makeup, etc. If it's more of a work day in front of the computer, then I generally don't get dressed at all until I have somewhere to go. Do I ever get recognized wherever I go? Not every time I leave the house, for sure. But yes, I do get recognized, and I'm happy to say that more and more people are comfortable approaching me directly and saying hello and introducing themselves, which I absolutely love. I can't speak for everyone who does this, but I personally, my heart breaks a little bit when I see a comment or get a message saying, I saw you in person at the restaurant, at a mall, wherever you were, but I didn't want to bother you. Please, it's never a bother. Please, please, please always come up and say hello. I always refer to you as my best friends that I've never met. While that is true, I would like to rectify that so that a few of you I can say I have actually met. So always, 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 if you see me wherever I am, and I mean wherever, please come over and say hello. My family is used to it. They get a kick out of it. Nobody minds at all. Please come say hi. I get asked this next question every time I do a Q&A. Is your current house your forever home? As far as I know, yes. Way back when we were in our late 20s and planning on purchasing this house, one of the things that factored into that decision was, could we maintain this? Could we make the budget for this house fit our lifestyle forever? Meaning that where the maintenance wouldn't get out of control for us, it would become burdensome. And so we purposely chose something that would tick that box at every stage that we could see in our lives. So we are very comfortable here. The house is set up very nicely for empty nesters. My master bedroom and bath is on the first floor. Michael's office is on the first floor, as is mine. So as far as I can tell for the foreseeable future, we have no plans to go anywhere. That doesn't mean we don't like to look and fantasize and dream about what another house would be like. But unless both of my children settle out of San Antonio, I don't really see us going anywhere. When is your next girls trip? That is a good question. I wish I knew the answer to that. There are a few groups of girls that we keep saying we're going to do a trip together, and lining up everybody's schedule is really difficult, even pre-pandemic. We all have different age children in different stages of life, different kinds of work-life balance, so just juggling all that is difficult. Then when you factor in the current state of the world and where should we go and can we go, it's right now just easier for us to just not plan one for right now, but man, that's going to be one of the first things on my to-do list once travel is a lot easier to do. Okay, this is a sweet question that I get a lot, and boy, have things changed since when I first started doing sponsored videos and using affiliate links. If I click on your link, then open that link in Safari, do you still get credit? I want to make sure that you do. I got a few variations on that. Yes. If you click on one of my links and it opens up in Safari or whatever internet browser you use, as long as you haven't clicked on a different influencer's link in between that, then yes, I will get the credit. I mean, if you're doing it immediately. So I appreciate that. Obviously, that is how this channel survives. So I really, really do appreciate it when you go out of your way, especially to make sure that you're using my affiliate links. And in case you're not aware, everything in the description box, unless marked otherwise, is an affiliate link, and there is an affiliate link disclosure at the bottom of my description box always. But when I do a sponsored video like this one, it's also very clearly marked at the top of the description box before you even have to open it to show more that this is a sponsored video, like this one. Okay, here's an easy question. Are you a mountain person or an ocean person? I am very much a mountain person, but just not in the winter. I love the mountain air. I love the scenery, I love the wildlife, I love the temperature, especially as I'm sitting here as I'm filming this. It's gonna be close to 100 degrees today. I love the mountains, and every fall, the last few falls anyway, we've tried to plan a mountain getaway. That didn't happen this year, at least not yet, but that's where my heart is. I absolutely love the mountains. Maybe not like really, really tall mountains. I like middle level mountains. So far, the Green Mountains in Vermont have been my favorite. Okay, another one. Let's say you have a free Saturday night. Would you rather go out or stay in? If you asked me this 2 years ago, the answer may have been different, but lately it's stay in. I like staying. I do like seeing my friends, but I like it if they just come over and we can hang out at this point. I enjoy just cozying up in my little corner of the sectional with my husband and my dogs and just binge watching something. I love it. It's what we did last night. I feel like a lot of us kind of have gotten into that comfort zone, and I enjoy it. But the next question, do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? I am an extrovert. I've never met a stranger. I can strike up a conversation with just about anybody, whether they want to talk to me or not. I love going out and meeting people from all over the country and all over the world and different perspectives. I love that. I've always loved that. But I do need to recharge by being an introvert. So as much as I love being out and about and talking to people, it exhausts me, and I always need to recharge by being alone with a book, doing something very quiet. I'm gonna end this little segment with the last question, which is really sweet. How are you doing? That is just sweet. Thank you for asking. I'm doing really well. All things considered, I'm doing really well. And when I mean all things considered, the outside world, obviously there are things that trouble me and hurt my heart and weigh heavy on my mind and my heart. But overall, I am very happy. I am content. I am blessed. I am more optimistic than not, and I'm grateful for everything that's going on in my immediate circle of family and life. So I'm well, and I hope that all of you are well also. Okay, I've got less than 20 seconds left on the clock. Okay, every time I try to show you the timer, it fades back to the actual time. We're done. Let me show you what it looks like. I will say that while it was very icy cold when I first put it on, it warmed up to body temperature, and that jarring sensation of having something cold on the face subsided pretty quickly. Let's see what it looks like. I did put it on very tightly. Okay, aside from the hair, here is the after. It felt really good. I mean, I don't know. I really like that this is a reusable mask for the price. It felt really good on my face. I don't really have too much in the way of puffiness. Does my jaw look snatched? Well, hopefully you're looking at the before and after side by side so you can tell me, but I'm glad that I purchased this. I'm gonna have to clean this before I put it back, and then I will put it back in its protective pouch. I love that this is a really good price point for what it is, and it's reusable. So I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna go put on my skincare, and then let's go play with some makeup. Okay, all the skincare is on. If you want to know what I am using / wearing, be sure to open up the description box where it says show more, or the little caret next to the title if you're watching on a mobile device, and I'll list everything in the order in which I apply it. But let's get back to your questions. My mirror is over that way. How did Michael propose? So if you don't know, I am married and have been so since 1997. I think that's 24 years. But we were engaged for 3 before that, so long time. So how did he propose? Well, Michael was returning back to St. Louis to start his 2nd year of law school, and I went with him to kind of help move him into his apartment because I was in graduate school at the time, but on a quarter system, so my school hadn't started yet. And we had a great little time setting it all up, and then the night before I went back home, I flew home. It was back in the day when a one-way ticket was like $30. And also it was on TWA, an airline that no longer exists. Anyway, that day he said, we're gonna go somewhere really nice for dinner. And then we went to the mall. He said he had something to do. That something was buying my engagement ring. And he's like, I have something to do. You do your own shopping. We'll meet up in like an hour or so. That's what he did. And then we went out to a very nice dinner, which was way out of our budget at the time. It's called Charlie Gito's. It's on the Hill in St. Louis. It's an Italian restaurant. And we sat down for dinner, and he was so excited because it's a very popular spot with the St. Louis Cardinals, the baseball team, and local baseball players that are in town for games will eat there often as well. And there were some baseball players there. I couldn't tell you who was there, but anyway, he was excited about that. And we placed our orders, and I still remember what I ordered. I ordered filet mignon with a slice of Provel cheese, which is a piece of cheese that does not exist outside St. Louis. I should say a type of cheese. And then a side of mostacciole with marinara sauce. And so the waiter leaves, and he just takes the ring box and plunks it on my empty plate and says, I think he just said, will you marry me? Oh, this is terrible. I can't. I think I was in sort of like an out-of-body experience at that point, so I honestly cannot remember the exact words. I know he didn't get down on one knee, which doesn't bother me at all. It's a dirty restaurant floor. Who would want to do that? But I immediately said yes. I don't even know if I opened the box before I said yes. I don't even think I looked at the ring. And that was almost 2 months to the day of our first date. Yep, it was a quick one. And then the next morning, I flew home and started my first year of graduate school. And then we went on to be engaged for 3 more years. Let me put on my concealer really quickly because I kind of have to focus on that, and then we'll hop back on and finish up the rest of the face and answer some more questions. Next question is, do I ever feel like there's too much together time with your husband? Surprisingly, no. Because while Michael is at home, technically, I should say retired is a better way to put it. He's not necessarily at home with me all day, and even when he is, we are usually on opposite sides of the house. He's usually in his office in the front of the house doing his thing, and I'm in the back of the house in my office doing my thing. We will occasionally meet up in the middle, so to speak, for lunch, but not always. So I don't see him for large chunks of time, and that's when he is home. So, you know, we see each other in the morning, obviously, and we see each other in the evening, and then in between, obviously I see him a bit more than when he was working outside the house, but not that much, unless we choose to, you know, spend the day together, which is also very fun. This was a funny question. Which dog is my favorite? I do not have a favorite. Just like if you asked a parent, which child is your favorite? There are dogs that I prefer for different things at different times. Obviously, you see Rowdy the most on camera because he is the biggest, I don't know, he has the biggest personality. He's literally the biggest dog in the house. You don't see the Westies as much, one, because they are true terriers and they like to be under things, so it's hard to find them half the time. And they're, you know, when they walk by, even while I'm doing this, they were walking by, but their heads are very low to the ground, so you're not gonna see them. It's a lot more fun to snuggle with Rowdy than, say, the Westies, because he's the size of a human, basically. So he's more fun for snuggling. I actually prefer walking the Westies because they're a little easier. I'd say I prefer walking Wrigley because he's the only one that walks the way a dog is supposed to walk. He heels right next to me. Mimi pulls like she's competing to be in a sledding competition, and Rowdy is just all over the place. He courses, he weaves, like he's going through the field looking for things. So Wrigley's my favorite to walk. Mimi's my favorite, she just kind of, like when I do my makeup, she's always, except for when I film, by my side. They just all check a different box and have different reasons why I love them. And they can all be naughty for different reasons as well. So I do not have a favorite there. What is my favorite lightweight foundation? Funny question, or good timing, because I just put it on. So I don't know what you're defining as lightweight. If you mean lighter coverage, or if you just mean how it feels on the skin. As far as lighter coverage, honestly, I don't see the point of wearing a foundation unless you're putting it on for coverage. So I don't really like the typical lightweight, light coverage foundations. I will say for those that feel the lightest on the skin, it give me the prettiest look. It's the one I just put on, the La Mer Soft Fluid Longwear Foundation. It feels like nothing on my skin, and it feels better and better as it dries down and the day goes on, but I feel like it gives my skin the most beautiful natural effect. It's what I have on right now, and I did not plan that for this video. It just worked out that way. I should have saved this one for when I was putting on my mascara, but the question was, have I ever had lash extensions? Yes, I have. It lasted I didn't even make it a week before I sat there and pulled them all off. I don't recommend doing that. I'm not against the concept of lash extensions. However, I feel like for me, I was not a good candidate. I like to wear, clearly, a lot of makeup, and I feel like they get in the way because you can't wash your face in exactly, or wash your eyes like you used to. You can't really get in there and do a good scrub, and so it felt very awkward and weird. Also, I feel like they get in the way when I'm doing a get ready with me. You can't really see what I'm doing because the eyelashes are in the way. I wear contacts, and that was a little bit of an issue, and I love wearing mascara. So yes, I've had lash extensions. I don't see myself going back to using them. If you've watched me for a while, then you're well aware of my trials and tribulations with false lashes as well. I am a high maintenance person with a low tolerance for effort. So while I do a lot to keep myself looking like this, I draw the line at anything that requires a lot of effort on my part. So repetitive lash extension appointments and false lash application are just not in my wheelhouse, and I've accepted that. And there are so many mascaras to play with that are very effective, as well as lash growth serums, that it's just not a priority for me. Okay, I'm gonna go slap on my eyebrows, and then we'll finish up with eyes and lips. Okay, let's zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing on my eyes. I will be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. It's a palette I've had for a while, but it is still on the Nordstrom website. I also wanted to take a moment to obviously state that all the makeup that you see me using is from Nordstrom, and none of it is new to me. I love shopping at Nordstrom for so many things, their beauty department in particular, but it's just one of those places where I know I can go, I can get exactly what I need, get great recommendations, and they're products that stay in my routine. They may rotate out seasonally, but they're products that stand the test of time, like this guy. Okay, so I will list down in the description box the colors and everything that I'm using and where I place them, just so if you're curious, you will know. But let's get to the next question, which is, what's your favorite state that you have visited and Texas doesn't count? I would say it's a tie between two places. The first would be Wyoming. I actually took a bus trip through, like a private chartered bus trip, but a bus trip through Wyoming with my extended family on Michael's side when the kids were younger, and it was one of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had. I have never seen scenery like I saw it. You feel like you are in a movie set, but it's all real and it's unbelievable. And it's just, if you ever get a chance to go up to those far northern states, I haven't been to Montana or Idaho, but I imagine they're very similar. It's just breathtaking, and the people are very friendly, and the skies are wide open, and the air is fresh, and I love it. Close second would be Vermont. So we went there 2 years ago in September, just before the leaves were starting to change. And like I said, I love the mountains, and the Green Mountains of Vermont are, I'd say, more accessible mountains. They're not so crazy high that you're gonna get altitude sickness on them. And they're green and they're lush and they're forested. And again, some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. But on top of that, I'm a little bit of a history nut. And everywhere you look, there is history. At least for the United States. It's one of the older, more settled places. And so it's just, again, breathtaking and unforgettable. And it's so different than Texas. So it was really, really fun to get up there. So I would say right now, Wyoming and Vermont are my top two. Now, piggybacking off that, the next question asked by the same person is, what state in the US would you like to visit that you haven't? So definitely Montana is way up there, because I imagine it's very similar to how I feel about Wyoming. That's probably number one right now. We actually looked into going to Montana this fall, but by the time we got our act together, it's practically snowing up there already. So maybe next year. I've never been to Oregon, and that's also high up there. Michael really wants to get up there for some golf-oriented things. If I had to pick a third, I would say Maine. I've never been to Maine. I've been to Vermont, I've been to New Hampshire, but I haven't been to Maine. I haven't hit like the most extreme northern parts of our country just yet. All right, I'm gonna leave the eyeshadow here. And I will say that what I love about this palette is that it does pull pretty neutral, some warmer, just depending on what you pick. I purposefully layered golden ochre as my first shade to warm things up, because oftentimes, like, I ended with warm taupe, that pulls a little more cool toned actually, but because I layered it over something warmer, it balanced out. But a little trick, do not let these warmer, redder tones scare you away. If you find, especially that your socket color or crease color pulls warmer than you would like, take a really fluffy brush and dip it into either this orange or even this brighter pinky red or even this red, and lightly go over the edges of it, and it'll be a subtle difference, but it'll really warm up something if it's gone too cool. Just a little tip for you there. I'm gonna start with lash primer. I got this in the anniversary sale as part of a whole little Dior set. Put that on the bottom lashes first. I use primer not so much for longevity, but to help separate my lashes. So the next question is, any advice on investing your money or making it work for you? So this is a very, very general piece of advice. Obviously, this is assuming that you have no debt or that you have it under control, that your budget allows for this. First and foremost, especially if you're starting a new job, set up a 401k. Take advantage of if your employer matches that. That's something you don't want to miss, and start early. And then I'm sure if my husband were sitting here, he could give you more specific advice, and maybe that's a future video. But also make sure you set up your own taxable investment account. By the way, the shade of this mascara is not black, it is brown. And I mentioned this before that I never thought brown would be a good idea, but it's actually really pretty, and I don't know that I can tell the difference between black and brown. Before I answer the last question, I want to show you the lip option. So first I pulled this. This was a favorite from a while back. It's still a favorite. It's the Hermes satin lipstick, and I bought the shade Rose Encens, which is a beautiful neutral pink. I will swatch it on the other hand because I have foundation on that hand. Okay, so that is Rose Encens, and I'm bringing it up, one, because it's kind of one of my go-to colors, but two, the actual Rose Encens shade wasn't always available at Nordstrom, and it currently is, so I wanted to make you aware of it. They have really expanded the shade range, and yes, this is a splurge, but it also happens to be an outstanding lipstick, and you can buy refills, so you don't have to invest in the very heavy, really luxe container. You can just buy the refills, which makes it, let's just say, more justifiable in your budget. But because I went a little bit warm and I'm wearing a rust-colored top, I'm going to go with my other current favorite, which is Bobbi Brown. And I bought this in the anniversary sale as part of a set with the matching lip gloss. Today I'm just gonna wear the lipstick, and you can't buy the set anymore, but it sold out pretty quickly, but you can buy each of the products individually. So I will link to just the lipstick, and it's the Bobbi Brown lipstick in Cezanne Nude. I'm not even gonna bother lining my lips. Let's just slap it on. So that is the final look. I haven't done my hair yet today, so we will leave that for another video, but I will end with one last question. What do you think you would be doing if you didn't have your YouTube job now that you are an empty nester? You know, I'd like to think I would just be continuing on my career as a professional volunteer. That's pretty much what I was doing. I joke, professional volunteer. You can't, it's not a thing. I have been a volunteer as at least since high school, all 4 years. I volunteered once a week at the Illinois School for Rehabilitation. What was it called? ICSRC. It was a state residential school for children who had physical and intellectual disabilities, and I worked with them every week. In college, I volunteered on a suicide crisis hotline for 2 years. I sat on the Officers' Wives Club board. I was the editor of the newsletter. I've been in junior league. I've served in almost every role you could think of on PTA and PTO, starting in preschool, organizing our preschool's gala and silent auction, started the multicultural committee at our elementary school that ended up expanding across the entire district, sitting on our synagogue board, our HOA board. I mean, I love volunteering. I love being involved in my community. I would like to think that I would have continued on that path, and I would like to say that I would add a few more hobbies to my list. I love reading. I've always loved reading. I consider that a hobby, and that I still do, but I would love to add gardening and bird watching. Yes, I said it. There you go. So maybe one day I'll expand a little bit at a time. All right, that is the final look and the final question. I hope you enjoyed this new format, kind of killing a few birds with one stone or in one video. I really, really enjoyed this mask. That was my first time even just taking it out of the package, so a few quick little insights. One, maybe don't wrap it so tight. I really went in hard and pulled really tight, was a little overzealous, and it didn't really show up so much on camera, and it's almost all gone. But I had little indentations in my head from where those acupressure beads were, so you're not giving yourself a personal facelift. Maybe you don't need to do that. Also, although it is initially very cold on the skin, it dissipates fairly quickly after the first, I'd say, 3 minutes. But if you're super, super sensitive to cold and you still want to try this, I say throw it in the refrigerator instead of the freezer, and you'll still get the general effect. And I did just look, and it says the same tip on Charlotte's, on the product description as well. So there you go. Let me know if you end up purchasing the Cryo-Mask. I'd love to hear your feedback. I will definitely be using this on a regular basis. It's super easy to do, probably while I'm sipping my morning coffee, if I can get it through the hole for the lips. Thank you so much to Nordstrom for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you for hanging out with me today. I hope you found it entertaining and informative, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.